Uh, his sister just gave birth to a new baby. You, as it is the DOUG here once again. But I am not alone, and tonight I have my good buddy Ray's, who's my second in command. Well, right now you're second in command because the other ones are not here. And we're about to play somewhere in Trigue, which I know I probably mispronounced it. Just to give you a heads up, if you're a child and you're watching this, this is the time I have to warn you. This is not going to be a stream for children. Um, because of what kind of game this is. Now this is kind of more of a little bit of a censored version because this is on the PlayStation. Um, the PS5 version is more pretty. The PC version is uncensored. So yeah, keep that in mind. But let's start a new game and. Oh, why can't I be on that island right now? I wish I was. You can use an alternative front if you do not like the current one. We're going to stick with the alternative one because that's the one I liked. So, damn it, I can't believe it. I can't believe I lost my job again, and this time things were going so well. I sighed. I can only imagine how Liz will receive this news. She will not be happy. Well, it's not like it's my fault. I was simply laid off. It's not like I was fired for messing up or anything. It's not like there was anything I could have done to prevent it this time. Anywho, I guess I'm going to need to look for another job soon, which really sucks. It doesn't seem that long ago when I was looking for this one. But at least I won't have to look for a little while yet, another week, and Liz and I will be out of the country relaxing for 2 weeks on a beautiful tropical island named Trigue, which I know I am mispronouncing that name, but I'm not good at pronouncing shit. The tickets have been paid for, the hotel room booked, and no other arrangements made. Our very first holiday together. Yay! That's some kind of milestone, right? Whatever thing this is about to blow up in our face. Although, really, I should have known something was up when I got my vacation approved so easily. I mean, they must have already known they were going to get rid of me back then, so of course they didn't care when I took a couple weeks off. By the way, you can already tell that she's got giant tits, just even with how she's dressed, so I wish I was that Thai. I suddenly realized that I'm still outside my apartment. I fumble for the keys, nervous all over again about telling Liz I lost my job. She had been a bit short-tempered recently. This wasn't exactly good news. I had to force myself to push the key into the lock and turn it, but I finally opened the door. There was an odd kind of atmosphere in the apartment. I put it down to nerves. Liz wouldn't be expecting me for another 4 hours. I should have called her. Uh-oh. Raze, I have a feeling she's about to walk in on something that's not good. Oh well, too late to worry about that now, and I have to explain it to her sooner or later, right? A startled yelp emerged from the bedroom. I cursed my stupidity. She must think I'm a burglar, or worse. It's not like we could afford to live in the best of neighborhoods. It's just me. I'm really sorry. I should have called when I found out I'd be home early. I didn't mean to scare you. I head towards the bedroom, feeling guilty about so many things now. Maybe there was something I could have done. I entered the bedroom. Well, the bedroom looks nice, but it looks like there's probably somebody over here just based on how the bed looks. If I'm being honest. Do, 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 do.
Take your bet. What it is? Is she packing, and that's what shocks her? Or is her girlfriend technically cheating on her? Let's find out. What? Liz wasn't alone. Hello! We're just gonna admire that for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, this will be the adult portion of the program. Cheating, Dave says. There was another woman in the room, snatching a bracelet from the nightstand. She looked at me and gasped. Liz was in the other corner of the room, a panicked, frightened expression on her face. I kind of ran out of meaningless syllables to utter. Liz hadn't told me she was selling the flat, and what was a realtor doing in her extremely matching expensive-looking underwear in our bedroom? I mean, I may be dumb sometimes, in some situations, where being dumb may be somewhat adventurous, but I ain't stupid. Was she actually buying expensive underwear for me? For a holiday? Could we afford it? Well, maybe she could. I wasn't exactly sure how much she earned or what exactly she did to earn it. I mean, of course I knew she was a lawyer because she was always complaining about how little they paid her for lawyering versus how much her student loans were, but the exact nature of her lawyering I didn't know. Not that that was relevant right now, with a semi-naked woman in our bedroom, desperately pulling up her skirt over her hips that I guess was slightly more generous than mine, as were her breasts, I guess. But she was kind of old, not exactly the age to be modeling what she was modeling, if she was modeling. She was apologizing for something to someone, Liz or me, I guess, since we were the only two with her in the room. And Liz was looking at me like a goldfish, her mouth opening and closing with no words coming out. So I spoke for her. I'm sorry I ruined your surprise. I'll be going. The woman, realtor, overage lingerie model, whatever she was, slid it around the room and past me before I realized what she was doing. Um, bye, Liz. I'll call you, okay? Dave says a three-way. Yeah, that ain't happening. Without waiting for a reply, even supposing Liz could have given her one, she slipped out of the room just as my common sense was whacking me about the brain box with any mental fortitude it could find. Realtor? Lingerie model? I turned on Liz, suddenly feeling very cold and empty and kind of weightless and helpless and just plain stupid. What was that woman doing in our bedroom, Liz? Liz grabbed at me. I can explain. And so suddenly I took myself by surprise. So too could I explain what exactly I stumbled in on. You were screwing her! My revelation took all of the energy out of me. I sat down hard on the edge of the bed and looked at Liz, not sure what to say, having a hard time believing this was really happening. That that there wasn't some other perfectly logical explanation why Liz should be half-dressed with another semi-naked woman in our bedroom. There was a bunch of clothes scattered on the floor. I didn't recognize Liz's desperately for her to deny it, that she had done so. I would have just, accepted that she was showing around a half-naked realtor so that we could move into the bigger and more prestigious place she always wanted. I mean, realtors are always desperate for a sale, right? Right. Liz jumped and seemed to kind of wake up. At least she began to pick up her clothes and attempt to dress herself. Yeah, she just put up a button-up shirt on. Okay. What with the missed buttonholes and stuff, she wasn't much better at it than the woman who just left. No talking, boy. Liz, call me once you get this settled. Surprised, I rolled around. Get this settled? Just what does she mean by that? Why are you still here? She spoke with such steady confidence as though Liz cheating on me was such a tiny, trivial matter that could be quickly and neatly settled. After which, of course, Liz would call her to meet with her again, and I'll be doing... What exactly? She scooped up her clothes from the floor. I forgot these. She vanished again. At least this time I heard the apartment's door open and close. Liz still had not said an eligible thing since... Travis just got done eating. Lister had not said an intelligible thing since I arrived. I was having a hard time believing this was exactly happening. I mean, actually happening. Or even understanding what exactly this was. For all I knew, it could be the end of the world. It suddenly felt like it. Liz, why? In spite of my best intentions to be tough, firm, utterly strong, and impervious in the face of the world suddenly collapsing around me, I started to bulb. Why did you do this? Liz just looked at me kind of sadly and like she was kind of annoyed, like I was bugging her about something stupid in an Equansis Central. Alright, well, hmm. Okay, hold on. Okay, so I see. Okay, so I can't really tell which one I'm selecting, so. Alright, well, get angry. She didn't answer, and I got angry. Why? Why can't you say anything? We've been together for 2 years, and you can't even manage to say anything to me? It, I don't know how to explain it. You can at least try instead of just sitting there expecting me to somehow understand without saying anything. Oh, that actually put me down. Well, that put Liz's thing down. Certain choices will change other characters' feelings towards you. There can be different things depending on your relationship value with these characters. However, it is not necessary to reach 100% relationship with a love interest to unlock the final romance with them. Is there a way to actually show the thing? Okay, we're gonna go to original and see if that helps, because Liz looked surprised by my venomness, but the look soon changed to pissed. What did she have to be pissed about? I was the one being cheated on. Jesus, that just made me madder. I just met her a couple of months ago at the couch shelter. I volunteer at, when you had to work those evenings. You were working those shifts, and I was feeling lonely and a bit depressed. I was thinking maybe we could adopt a cat, and it would cheer me up some and give us something to bond over together. I guess that's what I thought. So I went to the shelter just to look around, and though I met her, she was a volunteer and inspired, I guess, me to become one. I guess we hit it off, started hanging out. They all say that. I kind of forgot about adopting a cat and was just enjoying spending time with her. She was just a friend at first, but then, okay, Liz, fuck you. You chose pussy over a kitty cat. Fuck you, you bitch. She fell silent again, and I thought she'd finish, leaving me to fill in the sordid blanks of her sordid little life, wrecking affair. And that was fine. I didn't need to know every detail of how long she was eating the kitty dates, Dave said. Ha! Detail of how they became lovers. I was trying to hold back another wave of emotion when she resumed. I was just so unhappy these past few months. I didn't know why. I couldn't figure out why, whether it was work, us, or whatever. I could talk about things with her, and she could talk about things with me. She was going through a bit of divorce with this dumb, super progressive guy she married, and she was questioning herself, I guess. I felt my experience was worth something to her, but then one thing led to another, and you know the rest. I was still trying to find the string for words that weren't going to end in some primary scream, but Liz hadn't finished with me yet. When I was with her, things seemed so different. It felt like whatever it was I was missing, I had found it. I thought that she could make me happy again. For a little while, she did. I found words. I found lots of words and lots of breath to utter them. Well, I'm so happy for that she made you so happy while you were ruining my life. Liz looked up to square at me. It wasn't like that. It wasn't about you at all. Not everything is. You'll be preoccupied too, with your shitty little jobs and the endless fucking novel. She closed her eyes with intense pain, but not as intense as I was feeling right then. It felt like she'd thrown a BBQ at me. I don't mean that. I really didn't mean that. I managed to squeak out some words. You said it. I know, but I didn't mean it. They're just words. You're putting me through the third degree here, and I don't have to put up with this bullshit. It's not like we're married or signed a contract or anything. Well, geez, I'm sorry I've been forcing you to live with me. It's my apartment. I'm paying your rent. when you have a job. I don't leave these jobs, they leave me. Well, if I what?
Never mind. No, tell me, please tell me how I'm screwing up so that you can screw around because I'm clueless here. You never told me anything. You never told me you were so unhappy that I was such a burden to you. I said never mind because I see exactly where you stand with that bitch getting things settled. Well, don't worry because we all settled. I'll never want to see you again. Liz opened her mouth to say something but then shook her head and stood up. I'm going for a walk. You can do what you want. I mean, where will you have to go stay? I folded my arms across my chest, not sure whether I was hugging myself because it felt like I might never be hugged again in my life, or just trying to hold myself upright. I felt mentally and physically exhausted. Dave, I'm going to say this. If your sister's watching this, I apologize. I always hated arguments and confrontation, and this whole shit show of a day had put me in a bad mental space. Don't worry about me. I'll just find a sugar mama of my own. Don't be childish. I got a cousin if you must know. Do you? Has she got space with the husband and the kids and stuff? Go for your walk. Don't worry about me. I am absolutely fine. Better than fine. Liz held up her hands as she walked toward the door. Talk to the hand, Sybil. All I'm saying is, if it's a question of here or the streets, I hope you got enough common sense to choose here. No one says roommates have to get along. Roommates? The door slammed while my mind was still reeling over her choice of words. How could I stay here as her roommate? Liz had always had a more than a healthy sex drive, and it wasn't like she was going to be celibate while we lived together. Was I going to go for a walk every time she was entertaining? I felt angry burning up in me again, anger and sadness and hopelessness and despair, a whirlpool sucking me into oblivion. Looking for a job and a home, and Liz would be taking someone else, maybe even little Miss Catpoop. The anger fire in me roared back to life like amber splashed with gasoline. Fuck that, and fuck her. I left the open case on my bed and went to the desk where we had the computer and printer. The e-tickets Liz had printed were still in the tray where she left them. One for me and one for her. Well, we'll see about that. I picked up her ticket and wondered what to do with it. Destroy it? Obviously, duh, but how? Ripping it up was too gentle for the way I was fearing, and she could stick it together again. Burn it. I need fire. Flame. Armageddon! Preferably. Neither of us smoked, so no matches, but I remember the barbecue on the balcony, and the lighter in the kitchen drawer. On the balcony there was a cool stiff breeze, but I was immune to all the adversary right then, and I got the scent of the sheet ablaze. Only when the paper was burning furiously in my fingertips did I wonder what I was going to do with it before I ended up like an Indian widow. Ow, 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 ow. I dropped the sheet into the dual bowl we kept for birdseed and water, which was right then bone dry and empty. Sorry, little birdies. Mommy and Mommy must have been a little preoccupied lately. And there was just a pile of cooling black ash waiting to be tripped over the railing just so. And all gone. Bye-bye, Liz. Guess I'm going to the turkey all by myself. Too bad. So sad. Hey. I got across to find a guy in a neighborhood balcony glaring at me. What did you... I gave him the finger and went inside. I closed the door behind me and began shaking. What did I just do? He was going to come around and kick the door down and kick my ass, and hadn't given the finger to anyone since Janice Constantine in high school, and she had beaten me up. Or gotten her friends too. I should go and apologize. No, I should avoid him at all cost. I need to start packing right now. I went into the bedroom and began throwing my clothes in the suitcase. In the nightstand I scooped out my sexy lingerie and uncovered the sex toys. Oh, I know I have a feeling Grace has it muted, but I have a feeling Matt and Aaron would love this game. A memory racked me so hard I stood stunned for a moment. For a long moment, I clean forgot the madman about to break down my door for giving him the finger. I forgot about everything except turning our relationship over and over again, like one of those multicolored puzzle cubes that couldn't be solved by mortals. I'd pulled myself out of the quicksand of past regrets and what was, or wasn't, or might have been, stuffed my panties in the case and the sex toys for good measure. Liz was rich enough to afford some more. I wasn't and needed to think about entertaining myself from now on. It's not the case closed. I listened carefully behind the door for heavy breathing or the swish of an axe.
Here's Johnny, your friendly neighborhood psychopath, before opening it very, very slowly and quietly. No one was here except Mrs. Posh, whose name I couldn't remember or pronounce when she glowed at me suspiciously from a seat in the short hallway of her apartment across ours, I mean Liz's. In the event of a zombie apocalypse, Miss P was the first line of defense for the floor since she always sitting there on the watch out for something. Maybe she's been guarding us because she knows we've been living next door to a psychopath. All she needs is a shotgun across her knees. A lot of noise you make. I'm sorry. I'm just leaving. I kept my voice low. Still feel for the psychopath would break out of his lair any second. Mrs. P grunted. Have a nice day. Oh, I thought to myself as I snuck to the elevator, bearing an unwelcome introduction to Mr. Psychopath. It couldn't get any worse. 1 week later, half asleep by ravenous hunger, I fell out of bed and stumbled into the bathroom. I gave myself a cat wash in the sink because I took one look at the shower controls and figured there should be a user's guide about there somewhere to work them. But reading was out of the question. Any stone cold shower would have about killed me. Hair half brushed, no makeup. I'm not giving a damn because vacation, people! I found the elevator and followed a hallway to the bright light that I figured was the dining hall and not like the afterlife or something. Woo! The sun hit me like a not-so-softly powdered wall of heat and blinding glare. Tears stung my eyes and I whipped out my sunglasses from the handbag. I somehow had the presence of mind to bring. Good morning, ma'am. I hope you had a pleasant night's sleep. Can I have your room number, please? Still blind and a bit dizzy from being half asleep yet upright, I struggled to remember. 513. I only remember because my lucky number is 5 and 13 was like 13. Not that I'm superstitious or anything, but I could have done with a more vegan room number, thank you, fate. I blinked dopely at the greeter's silhouette while I waited for my slight to return. Maybe he'd just think I was a hardcore partygoer, a free spirit, Not that I cared what he thought, I told myself sternly. I'm on vacation, damn it. I can be whatever I am. Very good, madam. My name is Hector. Anything you require, please let me know. Allow me to show you to your table. I followed Hector's silhouette to the table, luckily next to a pillar that sheltered me from glare of the sun. What business did the sun have being so boisterous and like in your face this time in the morning? Not that I knew what this time in the morning actually was. Darn my stomach for forcing me up at this unnatural hour. Most of the shitty jobs I've had, the kind Liz had so sweetly reminded me, I was still managing to lose on a regular basis, required me getting up well before my biorhythms were ready. Now I was on vacation. It was exactly the same. Coffee, madam? Please. I'll send your server over. The buffet is over there, madam. Anything you require, please don't hesitate to ask. A job, please, waiting for me when I get back to California. But then he turned away and there was a mighty crash of curtly and crockery. Someone yelped. A guy's voice said, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Hector murmured in a registered tone, Grace, and hurried across the room. At least the accident did what nothing else had done so far. It properly woke me up. I could see again. I gazed out across the huge hotel patio, where a smattering of other guests were dining. Across the pool where a few people were splashing around. To the sea, the wide and shiny sapphire blue sea. I couldn't believe I was here. Couldn't believe Liz wasn't here, lurking somewhere, although we hadn't spoken since she walked out of the apartment that fateful day. Another life, and only a week ago. I couldn't stop the guilt rising a bit now that the rough edges of the anger and the hurt had worn off a bit. I almost kind of miss her. Part of that I knew was because the week I spent living with Goosa and her family had been no picnic. I mean, I couldn't blame them. Me just turning up on their doorstep unannounced and uninvited with worse sobs punctuating my sob story of betrayal and petty revenge. I was lucky they took me in. Then I think it was only because I was just going to be... It was just going to be a week before my holiday here. I wouldn't be surprised to get back to California to find them moved and no forwarding address. I wouldn't blame them for that either. But right then I didn't want to think about Liz or Guzlel or heading back to California. I just wanted to start believing I was here, alone, and that it wasn't some lucid dream born too many sleepless nights. and the endless worrying about Liz and jobs and Liz and, well, all sorts of stuff. Before I met Liz, I'd always been a bit of a worry, and I guess recent events had gotten me back in that habit. Hello, vacation, Sybil. You know what a vacation is, right? No worrying. Happy, happy, happy. Right. Happy, 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 and free for free for free. Sun and sun and sea. And my gaze landed on a vision of a perfect womanhood sitting a few tables away, her long black hair shiny deepest blue where it caught the sun, dressed for a fashion shot in a glamour magazine, a publicly folded parasol hanging on the back of the chair next to her. My heart kind of went flippity-flip. Good morning. How are you this morning? Are you dining alone or waiting for someone? My heart kind of went zoink as I turned to find a dark-haired island girl looking at me with almost unbearable cheerfulness. My name is Grace. I'll be Grace of the... I gestured towards the source of the sound of the accident a few minutes ago, feeling utterly grasped even as I did. My God, I was already going to make enemies of the hotel staff. I really didn't ought to be around people at all. Grace colored alarmingly deeply and looked positively sick with shame. Sylvia, you utter bitch, I told myself. Yes, I'm sorry about that. No, don't worry. I'm sure it wasn't your fault, and it's none of my business anyway. Grace gave me a fleeting grin like of an agreement, but that cheerfulness went out. Can I bring you some coffee, espresso, cappuccino, americano, latte, mocha? Americano would be great, thanks. Right away. She rolled around and headed across the room, narrowly missing a couple of guys just getting up from their breakfast. Maybe I should have gotten the coffee myself. I feel so guilty if she had an action of bringing it over to me. I sighed and snuck a grace at the exotic beauty a few tables away. She turned to mumble something to Hector, and I saw she was Asian, with flawless skin and a face that belonged on Vogue. My heart flippity-flapped again. I knew nothing could come of such hopeless longing, but I wish I was an artist, a painter, or a photograph, or something which could give me an excuse to study her endlessly and forever. I ran my fingers through my hair and suddenly realized what a mess I looked, like something the sea had buffed up during the last tropical storm. No makeup, unbrushed hair, slowless skin, and dark baggy eyes. Ugh. I turned away, putting my hand to my face to shield her from the hideous sight I presented. A moment out of the corner of my eye caused me to look up to find Grace carrying towards me a tray holding a coffee mug balanced precariously in her hands. I watched helplessly as she shrugged between tables, and unexpectedly passed her by with the grace of a out-of-practice ballerina who unwittingly stepped under ice. In the midst of the scary, it was kind of impressive, like seeing a Pin Solar action scene in real life. Wow. Well, against all probability and my total expectation, Grace somehow managed to land the tray on the table with most of the coffee still in the mug, and miraculously none of it over me. My sixth sense made me grace across the fashionista, and I found her looking in our direction, watching the show with unreadable but just her beauty expression. Crap. Way to make a first impression, Sybil. I'm so sorry. I guess I'm just having one of these mornings. The hotel should be paying you double. Once for registering, and again for the entertainment. Huh? Was it being embarrassed in front of the Asian beauty queen that brought up that smirk in me? That was kind of impressive how you managed to bring it this far without getting coffee over yourself, the guest and the dining room. Grace just stared at me. I'm joking. Grace looked as she might cry. You didn't sound like you were joking. I have a very dry sense of humor. I'm sorry, I'm not making fun of you. I'm seriously impressed that after tripping over whatever you tripped over, you managed to stay upright and reach me with everything intact. Grace grimaced. I didn't do this on purpose, you know. I know. I'm sorry. I sincerely brought a small smile to Grace's face, like the sun peeking through a veil of cloud. You don't have to be sorry. I know you're only trying to lighten the situation and make me feel better about my ditziness. It's just been one of those mornings, you know, when you know you shouldn't get out of bed. I've had a few of those. But now you're on holiday, right? You can relax, have fun, avoid getting me as your server every morning. No, I'm going to insist on having you as my server every morning. That way I know I'll be awake and will make the most of the day. Huh. Are you with anyone? No. Was going to be, but it's a long story. Grace nodded wisely, which was kind of funny combination with her cute, cheerful face. I know those stories, believe me. Grace, you are needed at table 8. Oops, gotta go. Catch you later. But it wasn't more likely I'd have to catch her, I asked myself as I headed over the buffet to forestall an intimate rebellion from my stomach. And hello, look what she's wearing on the beach. Woo woo! Shower dressed, hair combed, and on, presentable for public engagement. Whatever form that may take, I decided to take a quick reconnaissance of the beach, and I noticed couples. More and more couples. Couples everywhere, like they've been bred in Paris by some local human couple breeder who possibly had a sick vendetta against me I knew nothing about. I knew this place was a popular romantic getaway. That was, after all, why Liz had chosen it after hours spent online poring over reviews and checking endless photo albums. But this was absurd. Liz, all that work, time, and effort, I'm here and she's not. I felt momentarily sad until I remembered exactly what circumstances led to me being here and her not. But where was she? Why hadn't I heard anything? But people used to vacation by themselves, didn't they? Single people lived here, didn't they? I couldn't be the only single person on the entire beach, could I? I look around, families, couples, groups having fun times on jet skis, paddling canoes, surfboards, and sailboards. Maybe not the only single person, but I was without a doubt the only person completely alone. I heard some kind of commotion behind me, but there was really commotion all around me. Gently by social people having social fun on the beach, yells and screams and laughter, and something whacked me on the back, and the next moment something much bigger and heavier set me sprawling across the sand. A wave taking unfair advantage of my hopeless situation chose that moment to rear up and crash over my carefully brushed and tied hair. Rah! The surf raided from my head, coiled itself from another strike. I hurried, pushed myself up before any of the bullying Ray's friends got any ideas. But in the progress, my glasses fell off and back into the surf. Oh, Jesus, I was blind as a bat without them. Well, not quite, but the word got awfully fuzzy, and I began to panic. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I knew before I turned to face my... saying who it was. Here they are, your glasses. I've gotten them, they're okay, I think. Oh, she looks like nice in a beach outfit. I snatched them from her hands, dried them on my shirt, put them back on. The word came back into focus. A bit steamy, but a lot clearer. Most of that part of it was Grace's stricken face. I struggled to master my breathing. I'm going to go with It was a long and fierce concert battle, but eventually I emerged triumphantly. I opened my eyes to find Grace standing silently before me like a prisoner awaiting sentence. I'm sorry I'm such a clumsy idiot, I know, especially in front of people I like. In front of people she liked. If she did whatever acrobatics she'd done in front of me, I would have felt and looked like a lot better than I did now. I ran my fingers through my ruined hair. I heard myself reassuring her, my voice trembling only a little bit. It's okay. No harm done. Can I make it up to you? Coffee? Ice cream? I tried to restore some order in my hair, gracing out to sea, and realizing that for anyone who hadn't seen my undefined and involuntary plunge into the water, I was just a woman who'd gone for a swim. I attempted a smile, wondering if my internal shakiness would allow me to pull it off without looking weird. Sure, why not, if you got time. As long as you don't try to serve it, I add mentally. My shift is over. Hector left me off early. Haha. I think he was afraid of what might happen if I stayed around any longer. I laughed ruefully. If only he had made her stay longer, I'd still be dry and have my dignity intact. Grace held out her hand and gave me a quick smile. Cookie smile. I'm Grace, by the way, as you know. Grace by name, but not Grace by nature. Ha ha. I took her hand. All right, I'm Sybil. Pleased to meet you. Well, now that we've been formally introduced, does that mean I'm out of danger when we meet? Grace looked stunned and then laughed, but in a manner that suggested she thought she'd better laugh or I might be offended. Did I seem that fierce? No one had ever seemed to find me so before in school or at work. Rather the reverse. Maybe I was turning into the mouse that ward first giving the finger to the potential neighborhood psychopaths. No, vaguely thin and clumsy young girls. Go me and myself, directed a sudden wrist training. We began walking towards the ice cream concession. The silence grew kind of awkward. She had changed from her unflattering waitress uniform into a bikini that frankly wowed her figure. She may not have been the most graceful Grace in the ward, but she was certainly among the more blessed by God. Maybe that's why I'm having trouble finding words to fill the void of silence. We passed an abandoned beach volleyball net. Hey, want to throw a ball a bit? Sure, why not? It helped burn a few calories I could invest in ice cream, one of my favorite investments. I got into this soon after I started here. Remember that story from the States about the volleyball team whose leader got kidnapped and they rescued her? It reminded me how much I enjoyed volleyball at school. She tossed the ball at me lightly, her plump breasts bouncing pleasurably in their little nest. So I got to coming here on the way back from work. I tossed it back. Letting off some steam, you know. Anyway, sooner or later some guys from the hotel or locals always come along and we have a little game. I watched her bounce around the pitch, the pleasant surplus of her beginning to shine in the sun as we upped our game with each toss. I bet they do. Grace giggled and returned the ball at an unexpected angle and speed. Wow, I was getting a workout I didn't anticipate. Guys will be guys. Got that right. So, you got a guy? Broke up, right? Sorry if you didn't want to talk about it. The tone in her voice suggests she was always open to talk about anything and everything. The more intimate, the better. It's a bit raw, sure, but you know, sometimes it helps to talk about it. Maybe. She's obviously didn't know I was lesbian, and while she seemed open and friendly enough, sometimes you just couldn't tell how people would react. Even if they were seemingly opening and accepting, some people had a million ways of letting you know that they thought you were walking on the wrong side of the tracks and probably being a deliberate, awkward cuss. I didn't need to invite trouble and conflict in my life. It came strolling by its own frequently enough. The game got fierce, and Grace kept me on my toes. Too wanted to talk. God, I hadn't had so much exercise since high school. I'd always been meaning to go to the gym, but it's so expensive, you know? And Grace. What had happened to the clumsy Grace? She was tight and focused and gave as good as I tried to give her. I felt like I'd been sold a false bill of goods. And finally, she went down. Finally, I returned the ball a little too far for her to get to, and overreach. She stumbled and went sprawling in the sand with an oof that could probably be heard down at the beach. Gotcha. Immediately feeling bad for the uncharitable thought, I ducked under the net to help her up. Did you hurt yourself? Grace leveled... there's more pictures for you. Grace leveled herself up from the sand, looking a little pained. Trying to get me back for knocking you to the sea, huh? Had I been that obvious? I felt heat flooding my face. I'm sorry, it was really childish of me. Here, let me help you. You haven't broken anything, have you? She took my hand and I took her weight and she got swiftly to her feet. Usually the guys are a bit more easygoing on me. I thought you were being hard on me. Grace laughed. No, I guess we're just competitive people. I suddenly realized we got quite a crowd watching our little friendly match. Wow, that was quite the game. I call catfight by proxy. Fight over some guy, I bet. I glared at them. No, it wasn't. Wouldn't that I was that guy. Grace and I exchanged eye rolls as we left the beach and went in search of ice cream, which is what life is all about after all. First evening in the vacation. I didn't really have a plan for the evening. I felt hungry and a little restless, but since I didn't know the town or the evening facilities of the hotel, I had no particular place I wanted to be. Liz, of course, had done all the arrangements, and although she told me she planned this and that, I hadn't really been listening. I'd assumed we'd be going together, so I'd find out everything when we got here, and it would be a surprise. The surprise, of course, ended up being me here alone and thoughts of Liz following me around in my head like some kind of ghost. Oh, she's wearing her lovely evening wear. I sat on the edge of the bed and sighed. It had been years since I'd been at such loose end, since we'd been together. I let Liz do the deciding for the both of us. She was good at that, deciding. Not so good at letting others decide, though. I mean, she offered me a choice, but then if it wasn't exactly in line with her thinking, she pretended to think and then give some reason why we really had to do this other thing instead. As your classic non-decider and one of nature's taggers along, I kind of given up on the independent existence. And now here I was, on my own, having to decide to do something. Because a week ago in a fit of madness, I decided to burn Liz's ticket. The worm had turned and still didn't quite know what direction to go in, to be absolutely honest. But I had to do something. Decide sober, use your newfound one freedom to take control of your future. Gulp. Well, we can either stay in the room, go into the hotel restaurant, explore the hotel, explore the town, or party. Let's go to the hotel restaurant. I scanned their in-room menu, pretty much all junk food, though they had labeled in comfort food in order to seduce the unwary or the desperately needing comfort. Well, I was done with that remark, but I thought of my figure and wandered over to the full-length mirror to examine myself critically. Maybe I was getting a bit chunky. Maybe that's why this had been all about Liz getting tired of someone getting middle-aged spread before she got to 25. She just not found a way of telling me except by playing around out of school. She could have just told me. I could have walked more, maybe gone jogging, possibly eaten less. I pinched a bunch of flesh that was sitting there and doing nothing but cushioning my hips. It was alarming how much pinched in my hand, more than a handful. Jesus Christ, in that tummy. Yeah, well, no comfort food for you, young lady. This is going to be a healthy eating holiday. My stomach growled in response. I mean it. Healthy eating, lots of exercise, no excuses. My stomach growled again, possibly a bit fiercer this time, and it wrenched my gut just to make a point. Yeah, I feel you. We're both hungry. Okay, I'll feed you, but it's going to be healthy stuff. Maybe the tiniest piece of cheesecake for dessert, if we're both good and you don't embarrass me by waterlaying like that in the restaurant. I went to the wardrobe and tried on a bunch of dresses. This one makes me look like a freaking walking mannequin. This one is so last year it might as well have a bust day. And this one, sure, I should have given this to the Salvation Army years ago. Okay, at last, semi-decent. Road loose enough around the coast to hide the fact that they made themselves a bit too comfortable. Color scheme, meh. Maybe I'll be wearing different makeup when I tried it on, or have been rendered temporarily colorblind. But you can't have it all, I told myself firmly. If you insist on putting on so much weight, then you have to put up with looking like a bit of a dork. At least until you get back to work for more than minimum wage. Not really satisfied, but now too hungry to care over much, I made my way to the restaurant. That doesn't look too bad. She actually looks good in that. It was dimly lit and romantic, too romantic for a fat girl dining alone. If that's fat, I want to see a girl like that, okay? But no sooner had I gone to the podium where they told you to wait to be seated than Grace saw me and gave me a little tentative wave. If I left now, she'd think I was avoiding her, and I was already feeling guilty enough about my behavior this morning. Grace came over. Hey, Sybil, did you have a nice day? Hey, Grace, it improved. The ice cream certainly helped. Grace looked apologetic. I can't seat you. I'm afraid they're pretty strict about that kind of stuff. Don't worry, I know it. I've done my fair share of waitressing. Well, you've done well for yourself being able to stay at a place like this. Ha, it wasn't all me. Long story, but Grace colored. I'm sorry that came out all wrong. My God, if management find me insulting... I'm not insulted. I know it's good for me to be here on my own. Tell Grace I consider her a friend. Anyway, I think if you were more as a friend, then, you know. I blurted out, maybe because all other friends were 1,000 miles away and I never knew in my life had I been so far away from everyone I knew. I'm afraid we might be hooking up with Grace in this storyline, folks. How long have we been streaming this right now, by the way? 44 minutes. Grace colored more deeply and broke into a grin. Well, really? Because, to be honest... Grace, haven't you got tables to serve? Grace bowed and scruffed off without so much as a goodbye. Hector shook his head. That girl, please follow me. I'll show you to your table. How's your day been so far? I got seated and informed a small talk and then left to pursue the menu and wine list, getting to a furious argument with my stomach in the pauses, which went like this. Me, diet, figure. Dresses that fit, healthiness, happiness. My stomach. Want steak, want fries, want sirloins, mushrooms and blue cheese sauce. Start with the stuffed portobello mushroom caps if you want healthy. Me. That's not the point. My stomach made a compelling counterpart by twisting my gut again. Where did this hunger come from? Maybe must be the fresh vacation sea air. I felt my willpower wavering. Well, you must have done some pretty dark stuff in a past life. You got me as your server again. Pretty sure you were putting on this morning's acrobatics on the volleyball pitch. You had it totally together. Yeah, well, I can focus on volleyball because it's interesting and action-packed. Between you, me, and the pepper grinder, witnessing bores me ragged. I just like zone out, but you gotta work to pay the bills, right? Please don't remind me of work or paying bills, I thought, but didn't say. If I was going to be here relaxing on vacation. I didn't want guilt and worry grinding away at my spirit. Anyway, please don't tell management any of that. 3 strikes and I'm out of here. I'm lucky Hector's being nice to me and looking the other way when he can. I'm not going to tell anyone anything. This is serious. That's serious bad karma telling tales to the boss. From the corner of my eye, I could see Hector looking, and Grace must have had a sixth sense or something, as she suddenly became full, unengaged, bright, and cheerful. So anyways, have you had a chance to look at the menu? What can I get you? Well, I was thinking of fresh garden salad, and I spoke quickly to catch my stomach off guard. You cannot be serious. For a moment, I thought it was my stomach actually talking rather than, like, just groaning, screeching, making other gross sounds. Sorry, what? Was this how guest-server relationship worked? I'm sorry, but that's all the delicious food on the menu. Choose lettuce? Lettuce, well, it says here it has... I know what it says, but basically it's lettuce and whatever chef finds in the garden in the morning, and he lives in an apartment. Seriously? No, not totally serious, but the salad is not Haitian cuisine, believe me. I don't need Haitian... I need to watch my figure. Grace stared at me, slapping her pad against her palm as if I was being a fickle child at the school lunch counter. You gotta be... you gotta be kidding me, ma'am. Like, you're not... Bulimic or something. No, I only threw up when I had too much to drink. TMI going on both sides here. I glazed around the restaurant, although no one was watching us. This was probably not the place to have this conversation. Well, I'm glad because you didn't seem like someone who had those kind of problems. She pointed herself, my therapist now. I really need to watch my figure. You got a great figure. The only people who gotta watch your figure are guys, if you don't mind me saying so. So anyway, please order something decent from the menu, madam. Hector swept by, looking at us suspiciously. I returned my eyes to the menu, feeling suitably charged and my stomach furring and so was smug. Well, I wasn't going to order the steak no matter what. Salmon. Great choice. It's really delish. One of my favorites. Well, I'm glad I made her happy at last. And wine. What do you recommend? Truth was, I was exhausted or decisioned out. Well, the house wine is surprisingly good and complementary to all those on the exclusive plan. Sounds great. Grace beamed at me. Awesome. She disappeared and I found I could relax for a bit. Look around, soak up the ambience. There was a cluster of people around a table just across from me. A couple of guys exchanging rings. The staff began singing congratulations. Grace joining in enthusiastically. In truth, it's hard to imagine her not doing something enthusiastically. I blinked back unexpectedly and unwelcome moisture in my eyes. Had that been what Liz had been planning? She given to indication of having an affair with hardly a prelude to the future married bliss. Liz had been a last hurrah, as my dad was fond of saying. A lot of things to him were last hurrahs. And Cat Poop Woman might have been Liz. After all, romantic had been one of her key criteria searching for this place. Oh, look at this, Sibs. It's so romantic, and another time, it's got to be romantic. Our first holiday as a couple. Hearing Liz's voice in my head got me all confused again. Had I overreacted? Had I made a complete and utter fool of myself? Had I not only foolishly burned the e-ticket, but preferably a good relationship too? But if so, why hadn't she made any effort to contact me? So many things didn't make sense. But most of all, the complete lack of contact in the week I spent at Gushia. I mean, she must have known I'd be staying at Gushia's and not like under some random bridge somewhere. Didn't she even care to make sure I was safe? Some bread for you. Are you alright? Snapping out of my reverie, I wiped my eyes. Grace glanced over at the table with the newly engaged couple. By the way, both of them have nice, good-sized boobs. And that's what matters, right? Remember, boobs matter. Granted, we only have one viewer, and it's me. So romantic, isn't it? Apparently Max and Raymond have been coming here for years now, finally tying a knot. And so good-looking, too, both of them. Well, the most civilized and best-looking men gay, hey? Grace, some service, please? Grace rolled her eyes at me and meekly went off to attend to the diners. Please don't distract her. She's having enough problems keeping her mind on the job. I murmured an apology. Now I was going to be blamed for losing Grace her job. I should have stayed in my room and ordered a big box of chocolates with a large side of self-pity. Apparently unconcerned with the previous nature of her job, Grace was cleaning up plates from the engaged couple's table. Ray and I were saying if we adopt a girl, we're definitely naming her Grace. Oh, wow, I'll be so honored. What? It was all I could do to keep looking while I was looking and not give the couple a shove Grace. I knew Grace was friendly, but to name your daughter after some random waitress? Without really intending to, I tried to listen in. At least, it took my mind off many mysteries of Liz and the confessed feelings she left me with. Anything to avoid bubbling away like a sad old maid alone at my table. How could we do otherwise? After all, the advice you've given us. I'll definitely be picking up a chainsaw next time. And you'll have to drop by. We'll have a ball. Children and chainsaws? Not a combination expected to hear from such clean-cut looking guys. Glad I could help. Grace lifted the plates and walked back to the kitchen. I noticed she was being extra careful, minding where she was going. A moment later, she emerged with more plates and headed to my table. About time. My stomach rumbled, and I realized it had made me eat all the bread while I was preoccupied thinking about baby Grace in a house full of chainsaws, and adult Grace visiting like a punk fairy godmother. Viola. Grace suddenly set down the plate, evident pleased with herself for not displaying its contents elsewhere on her route. Unfortunately, a moment of triumph was slightly marred by the fact she chipped my wine glass instead of knocking over the salt and pepper grinders in the table game of miniature Skittles. Grace whined and Winston Grace around the room to see if Hector had witnessed her little mishap, but he momentarily disappeared. Fortunately for me, the wine glass was empty. Thanks, stomach. I guess you did us a favor this time, even though you're a total pig. And fortunately for Grace, it didn't break. Oops, sorry, I get you another glass on the house. The house wine would be on the house. She giggled. Normally, the hotel only gives each customer one free glass each evening. They're so cheap sometimes. She skipped off, eventually happy to have gotten a break that for once it involved glassware or crockery. The salmon indeed smelled delish, and my stomach soon forgave me for not ordering steak. However, it was going to be a while before I could forgive it for hypnotizing me as I ate all the bread. By the time it came to sign the check and head back to my room, Grace had disappeared. I hope she hadn't been sacked, but surely I would have heard any commotion. I got up and walked out of the restaurant. Somehow the couple's conversation stuck in my head. Like, it's not as if... I'll be right back, guys. Give me a second. At least let me do a quick save here in case something happens before I come back. Uh, Alright, guys, I'm going to be busy for a little bit, so I'm going to end the stream, but we'll get back to this when I'm done. Mortal Kombat, alright? Till then, peace.